Hi, welcome to video number 97. This video is on points on a line segment using ratio. And the keywords I've got for you are line segment and ratio. So line segment is part of a line that's been drawn on a graph between two given coordinates. And a ratio is a way of splitting something up. So you'll be splitting up the part of the line segment into a total number of pieces. And to understand what that total number of pieces is, you have to understand that the ratio numbers can be added together to give you that total number of pieces. Alright, and that's a little insight into the world of ratio for you. Haven't made any videos to this point, but there will be lots and lots and lots coming soon. Now, the method states that we've got to find the difference between the y coordinates at the start and the end of the line segment, and to do the same thing for the x coordinates. Before that though, I would recommend drawing a sketch. So that's what we'll do in each of these questions. Look at the ratio you've been given. This tells you how far along the line the point you are looking for is. Convert the ratio to a fraction. Find that fraction of the differences and add or subtract to the start or the end point. Depends where you're going from. If you start at A, then you might need to add on. If you start at B, you might need to take away. So do that. Add or subtract to the start point of the line segment to find the point that is on the line. Find exactly where it is, what coordinate it's on. Now, point P lies on the line segment in question number 1, where A is 2, 1 and B is 6, 9. The ratio of A to P, P to B is 1 to 3, find point P. It all sounds quite confusing, right? But let's unpick this. Let's do this one thing at a time. Let's first of all draw a sketch, and everything's positive, so we'll just draw the positive quadrant, and then we'll plot point A in there. So 2, 1 is roughly there. Let's say that's 2, 1. And let's say that 6, 9 is roughly there. Alright, now I'm just going to join those two points together with a straight line-ish. And then I'm going to say that point P is somewhere along this line. Okay, now we can tell where it is, and we can tell what it's closer to by the ratio. A to P, to get from A to P, is one part of the total. To get from P to B, it's 3 parts of the total. Now the total parts is 4. Alright, so I'm going to write down total parts equals 4, because that's what the ratio adds up to. Alright, now we know that it's 1 part out of the 4 parts to get from A to P. Alright, so P is roughly going to be around here somewhere, right? It's about 1 part out of the 4 parts, and 1 part out of the 4 parts is a quarter. Alright, so P is 1/4 from A. That's a useful thing to write down, or at least remember. Okay, it's 1/4 of the way from A. It's 3/4 of the way from B. Right? Now, that should all make sense, hopefully, up to this point. All we'd have to do now is look at finding the differences between. So let's look at finding that difference there, all right, and that difference there. So we've got the y-axis difference, and that number was 9 and that number was 1, so that difference is 8. And then this difference here, well, that number was 2 and that number is 6, so that difference is 4. All right, and we need to find a quarter of both of these numbers. We're doing that, finding the fraction of the amount bit. So we want, let's do the x one first. So x, alright, is 1/4 of 4, which equals 1. And then for y, we've got 1/4 of 8, which is 2. Right, now if we want to find the point P's coordinate, all we've got to do is add 1 on to A's coordinate here. Alright, so for x, we're going to get 2 plus 1, and that equals 3. And that's our x coordinate value. And then to get y, well, we start at 1, alright, and we add on 2. And that gets us to 3 as well. So the point P is actually at 3, 3, 1/4 of the way along the line. Alright, hopefully that will make sense to you. I did it slightly out of the order of the method, and you can do that too if you want to. That just kind of made sense to me to do it that way. So, question 2. A is 4, 2, and B is 7 minus 3. You've got to find point P such that A to P, P to B is in the ratio of 3 to 7, which is a bit trickier, right? But let's just draw another sketch and see where we can go with it. So here's the y-axis, here's the x-axis, and I'm going to plot for 2 roughly about there, and I'm going to plot 0.7 let's say it's over there-ish, and then -3, about there. So I'm just going to draw a straight line that joins these 2 points together. Alright, and you can see it's a negative gradient which goes through the y-axis, a positive point, but that doesn't matter. Alright, because all we need to do is work out what the differences are between these numbers. So here is the point 4 on the x-axis, and here is 0.7 on the x-axis, the same thing. Alright, then we've got the point 2 here, and then we've got point -3, which is not really that great scale, but there's -3. There you go. So what we've got there are some differences. So 7 take away 4. Alright. Let's say 7's there actually. Yeah, that's awful scale, but never mind. Doesn't matter. Alright, so that is a difference of 3. And that is a difference of 5. You see what I mean about the scale? I've made that one look a lot longer than that one, but it really doesn't matter. Right? So we've got a difference of 3 there and a difference of 5 there. Right? Let's look at this ratio then. Alright? Let's see how far along point P is, right, from A. So if that's A and that's B, point P is somewhere along the line, we can see it's going to be 3 parts out of the 10 parts. Okay? So P is 3/10 from A. You don't have to write that, but it's just useful. Alright, we know that it's 3/10 from A. And yeah, that's going to be somewhere along here-ish, isn't it? Alright, we're about 3/10. That's about halfway. 4/10, 3/10, maybe, yeah, about there-ish, right? Now we're going to find our values. Alright, so we look at the differences here. We want 3/10 of 3, first of all. So for x, we'll go 3/10 of 3. And that is going to be 3 divided by 10, which is 0.3, times that by 3, 0.9. And then for y, we're going to get 3/10 of 5, that difference there. And that's going to be 5 divided by 10, 0.5. And then times it by 3, 1.5. So we've got our two values to add on to A. We can add on to A. And we're going to go there to there. What we adding on from? We're adding on from 4. And we're adding on our 0.9. So 4 plus 0.9 is equal to 4.9. There's our x coordinate value. And our y coordinate value will be found by adding on 1.5 to 2. So 2 plus 1.5 is equal to 3.5. And that is that one. Right. Move myself over. Let's have a look at the final question. And this one is a little bit trickier because we've got point A is the values of A and B. So we don't know what they are, little a, little b. Right. Point B is 3/10. A to P is in the ratio, A to P, P to B is in the ratio of 1 to 3. And P, we know the coordinate of P is 0, 1. We've got to find the values of A and B. So we've got to find A this time. So we're working backwards, basically. Right, to what we've done so far. So let's draw a little sketch of this one. Alright, and I'll show you the nicest way of answering this question, I think. Right, because you've got to work backwards. Bit trickier. Let's plot point B. So 3/10, let's say 3 is there and 10 is there. Okay, then we're going to plot point P because we know the coordinate for that, 0, 1, so it's about there. Alright, and then we're just going to draw a sketch, and it's not going to be great again. But there we go, there's our sketch. Now, we know because of the ratio, alright, that the total parts add up to 4. Alright, so P is 1/4 from A again. Alright, that is 1/4 from A, but we don't know what A is. Alright, so A is somewhere down here, probably in the negatives, negative x, negative y's. Right, but this is how I would work it out. Right, so what we need to do first of all is there's our 10, there's our 1, and there's our 0, and there's our 3. Right, so the difference between here and here, difference between the y values is 9, and the difference in the x values is 3. Right, now we're working it backwards. We've got to work out the fraction of the amount backwards. All right, and what we're doing is we're thinking we're going from B actually, so it'd be useful to know how much of the whole thing this is. So this is 3/4 of it. All right, so I'm going to put that down as well. P is 3/4 from B. All right, that's really useful for this particular question, actually. So I'm going to take that there. I'm going to say that 3/4 is equal to 9, right? 3/4 of the way. So what we do is we work out the fraction of the quantity backwards. So 9 divided by 3 is equal to 3, and then 3 multiplied by 4 is equal to 12. That's given us the whole length of the line, or what the whole length of the line would be, or the difference between A and B, basically. All right, so we need to add 3 onto that 9 to get 12. All right, so we're going to take off of this value for P. We're going to take away 3. So P's values are 0 and 1. Our Y value is 1. So 1 minus 3 is minus 2. So there is our Y value. That's there, minus 2. So we're going to say we're about here. All right, let's just work out what the X value is. So that is 3/4. 3/4 of the line is worth 3. Right? I know this doesn't make mathematical sense. I'm putting an equal symbol between these two things. That is not equal to that. Right? But you understand what I'm saying. 3/4 of the line is equal to 3. Right? So 3 divided by 3 is equal to 1. 1 times by 4 is equal to 4. So we need that whole difference there. Right? It should be 4. Right? Carried that on. And that if that's 4, we're going to take off of 0. 0 minus that extra 1. And that's going to be minus 1. So I've found the coordinate of point A. A is equal to minus 1, minus 2. Actually, I should really have put that for each of the other questions as well. All right, P is equal to that coordinate, P is equal to that coordinate, and A is equal to this one. That one's definitely a lot trickier. You'd be unlucky to get a question like that on your GCSE paper, in all honesty. But I've popped it in there because it could happen. You just have to understand how to work your fractions of your quantities backwards. Understand that what you're finding is the difference between the 2 points, A and B. And then you can always work it forwards and just see that it does make sense as well. Feel free to do that and put some comments in the comment section if I've made any mistakes. All right, thank you so much for watching this one. Be lovely to one another. I hope you practice. I hope you use the resources wisely and continue to improve your skills in maths. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.